Well, good afternoon. A very warm welcome to a very warm Robin Park Arena. Betfred Women's Super League action, live and exclusive on the Sportsman. Wigan Warriors against St Helens, and alongside me, a man who knows all about this fixture. It's a derby that needs no introduction, Carl.
Oh, it certainly doesn't. You know, it could be tiddlywinks in this part of town and it would still have a fierce rivalry to it. But, you know, two great teams of the Women's Super League going at it again. We, you know, repeat of that Challenge Cup final and a purely dominant display from Wigan. You know, that day they, I believe, lifted another level, set a new standard in terms of the women's game. And St Helens, they're the ones who have got all the questions to answer this afternoon.
We wait to see if Wigan can maintain that standard. They were superb at Wembley. Do you think from a St Helens perspective they've spoken about this being a revenge mission today?
Oh, 100%. You know, they know that if Wigan play at that level, I think that Saints can't go with them. You know, it's up to St Helens to try everything they can to make sure that they put this Wigan Warriors outfit off because, like I said, if they're operating at their very best, I don't see anybody touching them for some time.
Well, we're getting closer to kick-off. Let's hear from the head coaches, Craig Richards and Dennis Betts. Craig, thank you for joining us. Big game this. What's the preparation been like coming into it?
Yeah, listen, whenever you're playing Wigan, it's a big game and it's probably the easiest week of coaching that you're ever going to get. You know, the girls come up ready to go and, yeah, we've trained well this week, but, you know, we know Wigan will have done as well, so it's about what we do on the field now.
How have you dealt with the kind of Wembley thing the last time you played Wigan? Have you just put it in the past or have you used that as motivation this week?
Yeah, listen, from day one when we came in, we separated the two. It was a focus on Wembley and that helped us almost close it down and move on. You know, you don't forget, but you've got to move on for it because, you know, we're vying for the league spot now.
You've shuffled the spine around in the last couple of weeks due to injury. Jodie played in the halves last week. You've gone with that again. What do you feel that gives you against this Wigan team?
Yeah, listen, we've had a couple of injuries. We've always rotated the pack anyway, and you know we just needed something a little bit different, potentially some pace in one or two areas as well. So, yeah, some of it's down to injuries, some of it's down to the fact that actually we needed to just freshen up the squad. But also, when it came to the Challenge Cup, we pretty much stuck with the same team. So now it's about rotating and figuring out what your best 17 is really.
In terms of these derby games, you've got plenty of leadership and experience out there. How important could that be in the last 10-20 minutes if this is tight?
Yeah, for me it's always important. You know, we've got leadership, but we've got leaders that are used to winning, and if you know when it's tight or if it's tight, that's when they need to step up really and just do the right things. You know, just almost have a calm head and just communicate or over communicate. So that's what leadership and experience gives you really.
This Wigan team have been very impressive this season, but do you think you've seen anything that you might be able to exploit, anything tactically you might be able to get in behind them on?
Oh, listen, there's always things that you can exploit. You know, we could sit there all day and pick teams apart like we can do with Wigan, but you have to go out there and put it into practice, and that's been a challenge for most teams. You know, there's plenty to go at, but are you good enough and fresh enough to go and take advantage?
Well, best of luck today.
Cheers, thank you very much. Thank you.
Dennis, thanks for joining us. Firstly, how's your week been?
It's been a really good week. They trained really well. We've had a solid performance here last week against Lee. The conditions were completely different to this. It was pouring down with rain and windy, but we handled that really well and scored some good tries.
I guess Derby week doesn't need a huge amount of motivation, doesn't need a huge amount of work to get the players up for this.
No, they've been ready since we last played St Helens, really, since after the cup final. We knew this game was coming. And the challenge is now, can we maintain our form and can we apply ourselves against a side that's been at the top of the league for a number of years. So our consistency has been good this year, our form's been good. We just need to apply that and under a little bit of pressure, like you say, in a derby game, when the expectations have changed around the group now. We're expected to do well today and probably expected to win. So that's a completely different way to come at a game.
You mentioned obviously last time you played each other in that cup final. How much have you used that game to kind of inform what you're going to do today, or have you kind of put it on one side?
You have to use those games. You watch St Helens versus Barrow and versus Warrington where they scored nearly 100 points. You can't use those games as any kind of reference of how they're playing. You can only use it against ourselves. And the last time we played them was in the Challenge Cup final, and it was quite a nice watch back, if I'm honest. Yeah, so you enjoyed watching it back. But yeah, you use the games where there's some kind of relevance. It's a York or a Leeds where you know that the standards are going to go up, their intensity is going to go up, their focus is going to be different. And what we're expecting today in front of a fantastic crowd is a really tough game.
Yeah, you mentioned the conditions, you mentioned the crowd. They're expected 1,000 in that stand to our left. what that kind of atmosphere, I guess, is going to feel like a proper derby, isn't it?
It's been really good. The girls have been working hard. Like Georgia Wilson, he said she's playing today all week. She works on like making sure there's events going on, making sure that there's an experience here, and we're getting people to come and see how talented these girls are. Like I say, and this is a great platform for that. And hopefully today, we're hoping for about 1,200 maybe. So we've opened up at different parts of the ground. Hopefully we're going to have a real bumper crowd, and they can appreciate how hard the girls work and how skillful they are.
Well, best of luck today, mate.
You're very welcome.
So we've heard from the head coaches ahead of this derby. Let's have a look at the two teams that they are putting out on the field. Starting off with the home side, the Wigan Warriors. They start off with Grace Banks at fullback, player of the match at Wembley, of course. She is behind a wing pairing of Anna Davies and Elise Derbyshire, and inside them in the centres, Georgia Wilson and Molly Jones. In the halves for the Warriors, Jennifer Obister and Isabel Rowe play behind a pack fronted up by Mary Coleman, Holly Speakman and Remy Wilton. In the second row, Eva Hunter partners Shania Power, and Vicky Molyneux locks in the pack for the Warriors. Coming off the bench for Dennis Betts' side, Mia Jane Atherton, Reese Casey, Jade Gregory Hazelden and Keris Jones provide the reinforcements. For St Helens on that revenge mission, of course, they line up with Berry Sahili, a former Warrior, at full-back. A wing pairing of Phoebe Hook and Danny McGifford have Erin Stott and Rachel Woozy inside them in the centres. Jodie Cunningham moves up into the halves alongside Faye Gaskin, and they play behind a pack fronted by Naomi Williams, Chantel Kroll and Katie Mottershead. It's a second row pairing of Emily Rudge and Shona Hoyle and Caitlin Casey at loose forward for the Saints. The interchange bench for the visitors, Erin McDonald, Lucy McComb, Vicky Whitfield and Darcy Stott. So that is how the two sides look going into this one. Kyle Amor alongside me, and all the talk coming into this, of course it's Saints versus Wigan, of course it's a rematch of that Betfred Challenge Cup final, but when you look at the league table as well, it's very, very important in terms of those two competition points.
Oh look, the Challenge Cup's all over now, isn't it? And you know, Wigan rightfully the most dominant side that day, and they came home with the trophy, but all attentions do turn to the league. You're right, Lewis, and for St Helens, you know, they got exposed to a team that was in full and free flow. I mentioned earlier, it's important for these girls this afternoon to try and stop the juggernaut, the threat, the ball movement that Wigan Warriors possess. It'll be a difficult 80 minutes ahead of them, but they'll have to start fast. Jodie Cunningham will be tasked with doing that, rallying her troops up, making sure they negate as much threat as they can from the Warriors.
Well, two unbeaten sides in the league. Wigan played 5, won 5. St Helens with that one draw against the Leeds Rhinos. We brought you that on the Sportsman a few weeks ago. Perhaps the most standout thing from a Wigan Warriors perspective is that 4 column, 298 points, averaging nearly 60 points a game, Carl. Whatever context you put that in, this is a very well-drilled Wigan team with ball in hand.
Well, it certainly is, Lewis, but I'm going to counter that and say it's the defensive mindset that impresses me. There's been 10 games in all competitions for Dennis Betts' ladies, and only 58 points conceded, so less than a try a game they are conceding. You know, St Helens, they come into this after that upset in the Challenge Cup for them. They've scored, 40 points to 6 at Barrow, and then last week 86-0 over Warrington. So they're in fine form themselves at the minute. It'll be a great contest this afternoon for sure.
It is very warm here at Robin Park Arena as Wigan head back into the sheds for their final instructions. I think conditions will play a part as the match wears on. Fantastic crowd building up as around us. They're expecting around 1,200 people here in Wigan. Some fantastic support for this derby, and it's just felt maybe what the women's game has been lacking in the last couple of seasons is Saints versus Wigan to be competitive. Well, this Wigan team are here to stay, Kyle, and this fixture feels like it's going to go from strength to strength.
Yeah, certainly. I think, again, what I saw a couple of weeks ago down in the capital just showed the rest of this competition that is the gold standard now, and everybody else, they have to adjust, get better, find ways of improvement if they're going to stand a chance of what looks like it's already going to be a very, very dominant season for the Warriors.
Well, St Helens not without their star power, of course. Loads of experience in there, loads of international experience. Jodie Cunningham and Faye Gaskin, a formidable halfback pairing, but plenty of speed in that Saints team as well. Phoebe Hook and Danny McGifford on the two wings, two outstanding athletes, and if they can get the ball wide to those two early on, I'm sure they'll try and make use of this hard, fast track here at Robin Park. A real sense of intrigue around this game, one of the standout fixtures of the season so far. Hopefully we'll get to bring you an absolute classic here on the Sportsman.
Just looking down these two teams, Lewis, the Warriors pretty much the same starting 13. Megan Williams drops out, Vicky Molyneux comes in from the bench from that Challenge Cup final. That's the only change. And for St Helens, you know, they're missing a real star of the women's game out wide there in Amy Hardcastle. She, of course, isn't available today. Rachel Woozy takes her place, and in comes Darcy Stott and Lucy McCall. Plenty of experience there to bring back, who were missing last week.
Saints, of course, missing Leah Burke on that edge as well, out for the...
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, not potentially out for the full season. I know there's some hope that they may see her towards the back end of the year, but certainly out for the time being with a knee injury. And as you say, when you combine that with Amy Hardcastle, that's a lot of firepower in the three quarters, not in this St Helens team, isn't it?
It is, and particularly on that left edge as well. Amy Hardcastle has been punching holes and turning into beast mode every time she takes to the field. She'll be a big threat and a big loss. But they're going to need a bit more than just single players. They're going to work together. And the skill has to be right up there. They've been making a lot of mistakes in recent weeks of St Helens. And the Warriors side, they'll make you pay. If you invite them down there through Dennis Betts having his fingerprints all over their shape and their structure, makes it so difficult to defend, Lewis.
Well, one thing we have seen from this Saints side this season, regular viewers of the Sportsman will remember that round one clash against the Rhinos, a draw, and well, Saints came from nowhere really in that game to get themselves a point, get themselves back on level terms right at the end. They are not going to go away, even if Wigan do get on top at stages throughout this game. And you do think both teams will have their moments, both teams will have their opportunities. It feels like the kind of game, the kind of atmosphere where it may just come down to who takes them. So Saints back in the sheds as well. Both coaching teams doing their final bit of work to try and get their teams up for this one. We're moments away from the action here in Wigan. Robin Park looking fantastic in the sunshine. As we've mentioned, a fantastic crowd building up around us. All the signs that we're going to get 80 minutes of brilliant entertainment here on the Sportsman Rugby League. Kyle, you've played in this derby, this fixture, you know what it means. Is that the message for both coaches? Do they simply need to say, it's the derby?
Well, yeah, perhaps for some of them. I think that message is probably more for Craig Richards. I think Dennis Betts won't be worried about it at all. I think the evidence he's shown, the amount of points that they're racking up, but equally the other side of the ball, how well they're defending. I don't think Dennis Betts will be too concerned about anything that St Helens are bringing this afternoon. The early exchanges will tell us where Saints are at. But for Dennis Betts, I just think he knows and he recognises and understands that his ladies are playing pretty well at the moment. In fact, very well. Straight after that Challenge Cup win, they go to Huddersfield and score 58 points to 0. And then a very impressive game last week, 60 points to 6 against Leigh. They've not got too much to worry about at the minute. Perhaps the biggest worry might be themselves. How much comfortable do they get with one another, and maybe just take the foot off the gas.
Well, you have to go back to 2018 for the last time Wigan beat St Helens in the Betfred Women's Super League. It was a 10-6 win in a semi-final.
Well, maybe that's the message, Lewis. You know, that's what he'll be saying to his players. You haven't had this fixture, this win here in this town over St Helens in the league for a number of seasons now. Now it's your chance to go after
Well, it's another opportunity, isn't it, from a Wigan perspective, to put a marker in the sand and show the development and the journey that they've been on, and it was evident at Wembley. But I tell you what, I keep coming back to the fact that it was a punch on the nose for St Helens that day in the capital, and they'll have felt that. I think they'll be bang up for this. They'll have something to say in this game for sure. Okay, form, that result tells you that Wigan are favourites, but this is far from a foregone conclusion.
Oh, certainly not, no. I mean, again, we're going to find out an awful lot in the opening quarter of this game. You know, hopefully it is a contest in terms of that, because, again, I keep going back to that Challenge Cup, but it was that good of a performance and that dominant. The question is can Wigan get to that level again? I mean, 24-0 at half-time. It could have and should have been more. For St Helens, they have to start big, they have to start fast, Lewis. It's as simple as that.
We're just waiting for the two teams to emerge from the tunnel, and then we'll be underway here at Robin Park Arena. The Brick Community Stadium in the background, but it is all about the Betfred Women's Super League this afternoon here on the Sportsman. One of Rugby League's most famous derbies, ready to be played out again in front of us. And I don't want to harp on about the weather, Kyle, but this heat, this humidity, it will play its part, won't it? When you get into the kind of middle section of the second half, you're going to see which team can handle it better.
Well, let me tell you, it's gorgeous conditions for everybody else watching, but for the players out there, it does get tough. It does get uncomfortable. Sometimes the ball can get a bit sweaty, a bit greasy, if you like, and make it hard to keep a hold of when you add fatigue into that. And the team that will go on and win this afternoon is the team that's able to make best decisions under fatigue at speed, Lewis. It's the same across any single level, whether it's the Betfred Women's Super League or the lower leagues, right across the game. There's a decent, healthy crowd here this afternoon. That shows you the support that are behind both clubs, really.
Well, it's the second derby in a row for Wigan. I'm told there was nearly 1,000 to watch their game against Lee last week. They're expecting more again today for this clash against St Helens. So, Rugby League, Women's Rugby League in fine health in this part of the world. And here come the two teams. Jodie Cunningham leads out St Helens. Vicky Molyneux leads out the Wigan Warriors. And we are almost ready to go. Fantastic reception for these two sides who will line up for the photograph and then tear into each other. We keep saying it, Kyle, one of the most famous rivalries in Rugby League. Any opportunity to see this fixture played out in any competition, in any format, is one worth taking. And we could well have another classic on our hands here today. So here we go, the two teams more or less ready to go. Wigan in their famous cherry and white hoops with the red shorts. St Helens in their alternative dark blue kit with the red trimmings. It's going to be Wigan who get us on underway, kicking from right to left on your screen. So St Helens will get first taste of the football and first opportunity to try and make a point in this game. Jodie Cunningham there, England captain. She's got a big job in her hands to lead her team around the field today. Jenny Fobister is going to get us underway. So here we go, up and running in the derby of the Betfred Women's Super League, and straight away the ball goes to ground, backwards, says the referee. So Kroll will mop up for St Helens and fire herself into that defensive line. Out they come now to Rudd. She'll bring it up towards the 30.
2. Move, Remy! Get square! Hold. Hands out! Hold. Go 2.
And St Helens now just keeping it in the middle for the time being.
3.
Expect these
Wigan, hit me!
early sets.
In, square now, hold.
Both teams to just try and work their way into the game.
4. Mary, hands
Shona
out!
Hoyle with the carry up towards the halfway line, which is from where she'll play the ball. Motter's head brings us out to the left-hand side, and Gaskin will kick early on in the set, looking to try and turn the back three round. It does take a bounce, and eventually Grace Banks does mop up for Wigan, and
1. Move, Danny!
she'll have a couple of looks at the line before being brought down, and now we'll get to see Wigan with first ball in hand this afternoon.
2.
Yeah, decent opening set there from St Helens. Nothing flash, just hard, direct carries in the middle third of the field. I think 10-metre carries all before the kick goes into the corner. And the Warriors just trying to get an early touch, early feel of the ball as they look to move it out to the left-hand side and do well.
And it's Hunter who rides a couple of tackles before being stopped just short of halfway. This is the 4th, so Remy Wilson in at dummy half. All the shapers out to her right-hand side. That's where she goes. Fobuster just with a short drop-off ball. This will be the last, so interesting to see what kind of kick Wigan go for here. Fobuster puts boot to ball. Sahili does well to just drift underneath it and bring that in cleanly, and now she'll have a go at trying to crack this
Move, Remy! Hands out!
Wigan line.
Hold left! Hold! Go 1.
St Helens starting this set on their own 20-metre mark.
2. Move!
Straight into that arm wrestle, Kyle. The first set for both teams. We've seen them just get through the tackles, kick to the corner, and now, set themselves up to do their defensive work.
Yeah, it's just important, like I say, that each and every player have an involvement in these opening exchanges, whether that be carrying the ball forward. Annie Crowell just decides to tip that ball on, or get an early tackle in there. Get yourself into the game as quick as possible.
Hold, Wigan, hold! Go 4.
Kicking game will be crucial this afternoon for both teams. We've mentioned the pace that is in these respective back threes. Grace Banks and Anna Davies, Phoebe Hook, Berry Sahili on both sides of the ball. Some absolute flying machines, and here is one of them.
Yeah.
Anna Davies does well under some pressure there to bring that in. Unable to engineer any kind of space, but Wigan just moving the dial.
Girls, extra yard here, please. 2. Move! Better now, hold. Come on, Katie!
So Wilson in a acting half. She'll step out and look to try and dart her way through the line, brings us up over halfway.
Hold! Go.
Wilson brings us out to the left.
Okay, that's fine.
Wigan making steady progress in this set.
Mary Coleman just looking to try and get that arm free.
Go. Jody,
carry on down this left-hand side of the field. Wonderful ball out the back.
And now Banks over to find some space. Here goes Grace Banks. Salihi does well to bring her down 8 metres away from the line. There's going to be one more opportunity in this set for Wigan. Out they come to the right-hand side. Kick stabbed through.
Keep control.
I think Woosie's just done the job. In fact, Danny McGifford, who's just done a job there to shut that kick down. The Saints having to bring themselves out from right underneath their own sticks here.
Yeah, Grace Banks just showing her threat there to show and go. You've got to be real attentive in detail. When that girl has got ball in hand, she's an absolute threat.
Hold.
She's so good stepping off both feet, isn't she? We saw there just that misdirection. A real live wire in that Wigan back line.
Hold.
But a good defensive effort as well from Berry Salihi. The Saints now looking to try and march themselves downfield, but this is the last, so they will be kicking from deep. Cunningham will put boot to ball and look to try and turn Wigan around, but taken in well by Elise Derbyshire, who now looks to return with interest, and already Wigan are up to halfway, so just starting to turn the dial in their direction in terms of the territory battle.
Yeah, they're doing that as well through the defensive actions. Molly Jones just looks to cross to 40 metres away. St Helens have used a lot of their forwards early on in the piece, trying to just buy some territory, trying to get down to that other end of the field, and then having to kick the ball deep from inside their own half. This is probably the best attacking position now for the Warriors.
So they look to again apply some width. Banks this time just with a short ball to Jones. Jones gets the offload away. Derbyshire looks to try and cut back in on the right-hand side.
4, move! Hold.
Wilton in at dummy half, brings us out to the right.
Look, chest. 5, hands out now!
And the fifth tackle, the hand goes up in the air, dead centre, so options on both sides. It's the right-hand side they favour again. This is Rowe. Out to the right-hand side they go. Davies looking to finish in the corner.
Go, Zero.
But I think it's a really good defensive effort to just shut that move down.
No advantage.
And St Helens survive the first real warning shot from Wigan.
2 markers.
Yeah, Forbuster and Rowe just combine on that edge. Before there's some wonderful work there from Davies.
Line goes, line, red line.
Just loses the ball, doesn't
just at the
she?
end there.
Zero.
McGifford does enough to just get across and disrupt her a little bit.
1, move,
St Helens,
girls!
for now,
Hold.
have the ball safely
in
back
there.
in their possession. Motter's head out to Crow. Crow will just stick it under the jumper and ramp up.
2.
Makes
Move!
5-6 metres.
Bueno! Hold.
Already 7 minutes into this game, St Helens being asked to do a lot of work in their own yardage area.
That's another forward carrying the ball on play 2.
Hold.
Driven backwards, put onto the back. Jodie Cunningham now looking to play with Hoyle and does.
4, move, Jenna! Hands out! Hold. Go 4.
So Motter's head
Okay.
out to the left to Cunningham. Cunningham to Gaskin. This is the first time we've seen any sort of width
Two knock
applied
on.
from St Helens,
First
but
by Saints.
that's gone forward,
between.
so
In between.
Well, 7 minutes gone.
their first error of the afternoon.
Scum in
And
the
it's
middle.
St Helens who cracked first with Emily Rudge.
Wigan ball.
Yeah, she just needs to catch that clean. The skill lets her down.
Just see what happens.
A real opportunity here for the home team, 35
Keep
metres
going.
away.
Heads in.
They've really liked this left edge. We've seen that so far a couple of times. Is that where they're going to go off this scrum? Looks that way.
That is the way they come. So Foguster up towards the line, out to Banks again, who already getting her fingertips all over this game from fullback. She's brought down 20 metres away. Wilton out to Foguster. She'll just drop a short ball off to Hunter, who gets her nose through the line, eventually is brought down about 13 metres away, pretty central. So again, options on both sides of the ball, but all the shape is to the right-hand side. That's where they come. Rowe, again, they look to this right edge. Banks steps back inside. No real gain made on that play from Wigan, but still tackles in hand to try and make something out of this set. Rowe, short ball to Molyneux. Well defended.
Hold. Line.
Wigan knocking on the door. Rowe again looks to apply some width. Ball out the back to Jones. Jones, and it's just too heady with the pass. Out to Elise Derbyshire, and another chance goes begging for Wigan.
Well, that's both wingers now who have bombed certain
2
tries.
markers.
Anna Davis and now Elise Derbyshire. Wonderful pass there. Molly Jones. That pass there to Derbyshire, she can't take it in.
Well, she did the difficult bit, Molly
She
Jones.
did,
She
yeah.
squared up the defender, and then the pass was just a little bit off radar from the Wigan centre. Not an easy one, perhaps, for Derbyshire to bring in, but
Hands out.
But on the plus side, St Helens survive.
it's the Saints having to try and again
Move in there.
dig themselves out from deep inside their own real estate. 9 minutes into this game, and we've done most of our looking out to this left-hand side, Kyle, as Cunningham just changes the point of attack, brings a little ball on the inside.
Holly, hands
This is
out.
Gaskin. She'll bring it up to the line and just send Crowley into action. He'll get the legs pumping and bring them up over the 30.
Come on, girls.
And the first penalty of the afternoon, and that's exactly what it is, Kyle. Relief for St Helens. A real period of Wigan pressure.
Red line goes, red line.
Just the opportunity to relieve some of that now.
Yeah, just staying in there too long.
So St Helens choosing to just keep ball in hand and tap, and
Hold. Come on.
continuing to attempt to move things upfield.
2. Move, Jenna. Hands out.
Slightly surprised to see they didn't put boot to ball there, given the kicking game of Faye Gaskin, who has ball in hand now, and now looks to bring us out to the left-hand side, and Saints finding a little bit of space, and they're away with Danny McGifford, who's still away. McGifford could be in for a wonderful try, and I think she has scored. And after all of that Saints pressure, Danny McGifford comes up with an absolute screamer.
Yeah, completely against the run of play. Well, it's St Helens who strike first after defending the whole of this 10 minutes inside their own half and deep inside, but they move the ball. They get round a tight, compressed right edge. And Danny McGifford scores 3 tries last week and 1 already here this afternoon. Jodie Cunningham using Shani Kroll as a foil out to Gaskin, Salehi, and then tip on from Woozy, and then she hits the afterburners and races away 60 metres to score the first try of the afternoon here at Robin Park.
A wonderful effort from McGifford, and you could see what it means to her there, getting over in the corner for the first try of the derby. And from a St Helens perspective, there were some fairly ominous signs in the first 10 minutes. That is an absolute result. So Faye Gaskin on kicking duty as usual for St Helens this afternoon. Not an easy one to try and open her account for the day.
She's got it.
She's absolutely nailed it. So, having had their backs to the wall for pretty much all of the opening 10-11 minutes of this game, it is St Helens who score first. And Danny McGifford, a former heptathlete, a track start, well, all of that in evidence there, just burnt through, and some quick players that she beat as well, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Showing all of her speed and desire to get that ball down. And let me tell you something, the Craig Richards' girls, that is a huge, huge shot in the arm to absorb all that pressure.
Go, stand side.
Survive twice out on the edges and then hit them up the other end of the field. There's a score that can go on and give your side a real good, solid performance for the rest of this game. They're going to need a bit more.
So Wigan, that's a little bit shell-shocked after that. Get us back underway, and Crowell carries that off the back fence, and already maybe just a bit more of a spring in the step for St Helens.
Yeah. Again, set after points is a must. Complete, get to your kick. Try and spend some time down the opposite end of the field. It's Non-Williams who's tasked to go forward. A couple of carries already.
Hands out now! Marcus work!
So St Helens dead centre.
That's good, thank you.
Mottershead bringing us out to the right-hand side, and Cunningham with just a short drop-off ball. Back in the halves, Jodie Cunningham, one of these players that can play right across the squad, but in the halves today in the absence of Zoe Harris, as Rudge now looks to try and force her way up over halfway, stopped just short. Mottershead gets a relatively quick play, brings us out to the left-hand side. Gaskin boots a ball again.
Good to go, tackles.
That is a really good set after points, but the chase there from the middle has just allowed Banks to get another 10-12 metres ahead up the field.
Hold Caitlin, let's go. Watch downtown.
So Wigan, of course, they won't be panicking or anything like that at this point, but they've got a job to do to just get themselves back to where they were a few minutes ago. On top in the arm wrestle as Davies comes off her wing and makes a good carry, finds her front, looks for a quick play the ball.
That's better, thank you. Okay.
Out they come to the left-hand side, up over halfway. Here's Coleman. Eventually stopped, plays the ball. Wilson brings us out to the left-hand side, looking to apply some width. Derbyshire not with loads of room to play with, so just steps back in off the edge and stopped on the 40. This is the last. Out it comes to Phobos the rule, put boot to ball. Salehi does well. Safe as houses underneath it, and now looks to return with interest against her former club.
Yeah, good positioning there from Berry Salehi. Just anticipated where that kick was going to land, straight under it, and returning it with interest as well.
To Rudge with the next carry. Plays the ball on the 30. Gaskin brings us out to the left-hand side.
Move, Vicky! Hands out! Hold, hold.
Out to the right now we come. Casey, short ball to Shani Crowell. She gets the offload away. Back to Casey, who's got options on both sides. Chooses to just keep the ball in hand on this occasion and take the extra 10 yards on offer. Motter's head on dummy half. Chooses the short side. This is Cunningham up towards the line. Erin stop met well by the Wigan defence, who force her back over halfway. This is the last, so after a promising set, St Helens will be kicking from inside their own territory. Gaskin, who puts boot to ball. Derbyshire underneath it. Oh, a little bit of juggling. And the referee says that's gone forward, so Wigan gives St Helens a golden opportunity to go back to back.
I'll tell you what, the platform that the forwards have laid for St Helens, just allowing Gaskin to get a real big boot to ball. And Derbyshire just spills it. But this is certainly the best chance for St Helens here. 16 minutes gone. And the first time really, Lewis, that our heads have been turned to the right. See what they have in this set. A real chance to go back-to-back tries.
Thank you. Heads in. Hold the line, my out call.
And really shock this Warriors outfit.
Thank you. My out call. On you. Oh!
St Helens with the scrum to the right-hand side of the sticks. Cunningham up towards the line. She brings it out to Gaskin. There's spate on this left-hand side if they can find it. McGifford just chops back in. Wigan's defence level to it on that occasion. Saints with tackles in hand and only a few metres to try and make here as Gaskin brings a short side to Crowell, looks to go over the top. She's made it over the line. The referee says that she's been unable to get the ball down, so we'll come back 10 metres.
Just look at the number of cherry and white shirts underneath Shani Crowell. You have to be putting your body as best as you can to deny her a score. And this is tackle 3 now. Gaskin out the back to Cunningham.
Cunningham just straightens things up and then gives the ball to Shona Hoyle, who almost manages to squeeze her way through the line. But she's now driven back to the 8-metre mark. Motter's head. Casey steps back in, looks to try and go herself.
No ripping. 5. Move.
So this is the last. Wigan have done a good job of surviving this set up until this point. What can Gaskin do with the kick? Decides to just keep it in hand. Rudds looks to goes out wide. And this is going to be a repeat set for St Helens. That came down off a Wigan hand. And an opportunity to build some pressure again.
Yeah, there was a touch out on that right edge. It was almost as Emily Rudge passed the ball. I thought at first it was a stray pass. The referee says there was a hand in on it and there'll be 6 more. Just this ball here.
Yeah, there is
been deemed to be touched. Yeah. But it's another set of 6, Lewis, for the Saints.
Time off.
Well, you mentioned at the beginning of the last set, this is the first time that St Helens have had much of a platform. The first time we've been looking to the right. I'd also argue it's probably the first time all season that this Wigan team have been put into this situation where things aren't quite going their way.
Yeah, perhaps so. I mentioned at the start of the game, I came into this and, there are not too many who forgive me into thinking that Wigan would certainly score a number of points. Of course, there is still 3/4 of the game left, but we spoke about the importance of St Helens and how big they had to start in the opening 20. Well, the scoreboard there suggests that they've done exactly that. They've been brave and committed defensively. Yes, they've had a little bit of luck with the wingers on each edge of Wigan just coming up with key mistakes. However, players like Shani Crowell, Hoyle, Non-Williams, they've all carried the baton forward and took this game to the home team.
We had that penalty.
So just a little bit of a break here as players get some drinks in.
Have we all had some water? Let's go then.
I think we can
Let's go, girls. Let's get going.
forgive them for wanting to drink in these conditions, Kyle.
Oh.
Dennis Betts there on the sideline.
Same message, Paul, just rocks. I'll watch. No holding in there.
So another golden opportunity from St Helens from the scrum. This time to the left-hand side of the sticks. It's a little bit messy at the back, but now they do have ball in hand as Cunningham brings it up to the line. Salihi looks to try and put Hook into some space. She's brought down.
Breaking early.
And we're going to come back to a penalty at the scrum. So Wigan breaking early.
You imagine they'll take the two here. The left edge does ever so well to defend that play, but they've broken early from the scrum. And you would imagine Faye Gaskin, yeah.
Well, that is exactly what they're going to do, Carl.
2 points, 8-0. Dream start for Saints.
White line girls, please.
Well, they'd have bitten your hand off, wouldn't they? If you'd have offered them 8-0, 20 minutes in.
Stay inside, girls.
Faye Gaskin's still got to get this kick over the post. I don't want to put the commentator's curse on her.
Well, she dropped one right on the sideline for that first try from McGifford. So you'd imagine this one really would be a little bit simpler. But that's coming from a player who's never took a goal conversion.
Well, there you go, she's missed.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Faye. That one might be on us. Sense of surprise. I think everybody else in the ground thought that was a foregone conclusion as well. She puts her hand up in apology. And that is a real result from a Wigan perspective, because repeat sets on their own try line. St Helens don't come away with any points. And Wigan putting boot to ball to get the game back underway, but they will feel like they have just survived the first real period of pressure that they've had to withstand in this game. So here's Crowell for St Helens, up towards the 30-metre mark, where she'll play the ball to Katie Mottershead, who now brings us out to the right-hand side, just keeps it in hand on this occasion, so Gaskin drifts into acting half. Shape is on the right-hand side, that's the way they come with Casey. Cunningham, Salihi, through the hands St Helens go, but a really good defensive read from Elise Derbyshire on the wing for Wigan. Shuts it down on that occasion. Mottershead out to the left-hand side. Here's Williams. She'll just take the direct route through the middle. She stopped 10 metres away. Hand in the air from the referee, so this is the last. Gaskin steps inside. Gaskin could be through. Can she get an offload away to Kroll? Kroll could be over. And Shani Crowell scores for St Helens, pushes them out to a 10-point lead. And my word, Kyle Amor.
Well, this
is a turn-up.
This wasn't in the script, but take nothing away from St Helens, who again have just been building pressure. And then I really, really like what Faye Gaskin does. Smart play, 21 minutes on a hot day, decides to run the ball on last, catches a couple of defenders out, the offload's there. And the big front rower, she's there waiting and gets a try, and a just reward for her efforts as well in this contest. She really has carried the baton forward this afternoon, and she gets some rewards on the end of that.
Well, that's the second time now that St Helens have chosen to keep ball in hand when they've been in good ball and gone to that left edge. And we mentioned before the game, Carl, these in-goals are quite shallow, so maybe they've just felt that tactically the percentage play is to keep ball in hand rather than try and put a kick in.
Well, perhaps so, and it's working well, but again, Faye Gaskin, she's been around a long, long time, and I love the fact that she just tries to keep that middle unit of Wigan honest. Shows the ball, steps inside, players clutching, shirt grabbing, and is able to offload, and Shani Crowell just there in support. Too big, too strong near the line, crashes over, and with that conversion, it's now 12-0.
Yeah, no repeat offence from Faye Gaskin from the kicking tee on that occasion as we see it again. She just comes back inside, and Crowell does really well to stay on her shoulder.
Yeah, when it just isolates defenders, she gets in between two, players are spinning round the back, and she's able to offload that ball. And it's a brilliant, brilliant start.
Stay inside. Good first tackle. On you, let's go. Hold.
So 22 minutes into this game, Wigan Warriors get us back underway, and they find themselves 12 points down here at Robin Park. And maybe just a little bit of nerves and anxiety rippling around this bumper crowd in front of us. Raj carries in now for St Helens.
2,
Some of the experienced players of Saints have really put the hand up this afternoon. And Vicky Whitfield out onto the field, and here she comes. Direct
she's
carry.
Always an impact off the bench, and straight away pokes her nose through, finds her front, gets a quick play, and St Helens are on the front foot straight off the back of that carry. But it's an error.
Knocked into the Wigan.
Shona Hoyle unable to bring the ball with her up over the halfway line.
Well, Lewis, the idea was right. A direct carry off Whitfield, everybody gets excited. Mottershead jumps out, but the pass is just a little bit behind Hoyle. And then she has to juggle and take it in under pressure. Again, the idea was right. But perhaps just the execution of that pass from Mottershead to Hoyle just needed to be a little bit more out in front of her. Difficult take. The ball's turned over on the halfway line.
So Phobester will feed the scrum, and Wigan will just be happy to have ball in hand at this stage. It feels like a while since they've had it, as Wilson tries to step away through the defence and then gets an offload away, and Davies could be off here. Shani Crowd does really well to get across and shut Anna Davies down, because if she finds space, she can well be gone. 6 again, says the referee.
And this is the part that St Helens need to have the head right in it, because the most threatening part of the field is here, inside the 20, and they're loading up this left, Lewis. Here they come.
So Rowe brings it out to the left-hand side. Banks keeps it in hands, steps in, takes on a few defenders. Still going, Grace Banks. Still going, Grace Banks. Eventually stops. A couple of metres short. Maybe the numbers were on that right-hand side. Maybe it should have kept going through the hands. Still tackles available for Wigan. Wilson brings us right. This is Rowe. Big ball over the top. Too big. Far too big. And Wigan again see opportunities go begging.
Well, sometimes, Lewis, defending doesn't always have to look pretty. And when Grace Banks bounces back through the centre of the field with her footwork, it's Shani Crowell who's in there just to bring her down enough. And then the next player, the overplayed of the Warriors, the chasing points, they're perhaps getting a little bit frustrated. You spoke about uncharted waters down that end of the field. Well, let me tell you something, in season 2025, more often than not, they've been scoring points, so there might be an air of frustration creeping in here.
Step.
Well, Shani Crowell's just receiving a little bit of treatment over on that far side, and that is perhaps cause for concern for St Helens, because she's been superb in the first 25 minutes of this game on both sides of the ball as well, in attack and defence.
It's another big carry from Whitfield.
Nice second of the game, and good progress on both occasions. She looks fired up coming off the bench.
It's a good ace in your pack, isn't it, to have?
Hands out! Hold, wait.
So Mottershead brings us to the right-hand side. Cunningham brings it straight up to the defensive line and gives it to Shona Hoyle, who will play the ball on halfway. This is the last, so the kick will come from the boot of Cunningham on this occasion. Spiralling around all over the place, but Derbyshire's safe underneath it, and she'll now return.
Big contact there.
Into the shoulder of Jodie Cunningham. Should be feeling that one, at least Derbyshire, as Molly Jones now jumps out from dummy half and makes good progress up towards the halfway line.
I really like that left centre there, Molly Jones. I think she's exceptional. That looked like a forward pass
from Mary Coleman. Referee says nothing wrong with the pass, and Wilson now brings us out to the right to Phobester. Mia Jane Atherton onto the field for Wigan. She'll play the ball pretty much dead centre, and now Rowe brings us out to the right-hand side.
It's a lovely line there.
Wigan just building nicely through this set, but this is the last, so
come on!
We'll see what they do here with this last tackle option. Out to Rowe it comes. The kick is to the corner, and it will just bounce on too many times.
Again, though, Lewis, it's the kick pressure from Shani Crowell that means that kick has just a little bit too much on it, and it rolls dead. A 7-tackle set. You just see her come into the picture there. Just put Mizzy Rowe under pressure.
Zero.
If you're going to mention those in goals, you don't get much margin for error, do you, when you are kicking into such a shallow line. St Helens back on the front foot then, looking to get themselves out of their own real estate.
One. Mushanaya. Square.
12 minutes or so left in this half. Shani Crowell now brings us out to the left-hand side. Gaskin with some Good hands to get St Helens moving again on that left edge up towards halfway.
Red line.
Good progress made from the 20-metre tap from St Helens.
Play on, play on.
Gaskin puts boot to ball very early and looks to try and turn Wigan round. Banks will just almost jog back to pick this ball up and now look to try and find a gap in the defence. But again, Shani Crowell again, she's been everywhere in the opening half an hour of this game.
This is the best I've seen her play, Shani Crowell, when you think about what she's up against as well. In there again.
2. Move, Katie!
So far, she is inspiring St Helens teammates to what has been an excellent half an hour
3. Move, Katie!
of action in the derby.
Here, step. Go, not there, Katie.
Wilton. Bouncing ball, which a little bit of miscommunication. I think that's a knock on. It is.
Yeah, they're rattled at the moment.
Well, St Helens have taken chances, but Wigan have held the door open a few times as well, Carl.
Yeah, they've been their own worst enemy. After a wonderful start, 15 minutes of just constant pressure in the St Helens half. Saints answered everything that came their way and then have hit back to a 12-0 lead as we enter the final 10 minutes. And Dennis Betts has got a little bit of work to do at half-time because his team, they look shocked, if I'm honest.
Head in, my old call, stay tight.
So Cunningham will feed the scrum. Moffat brings it out to the left-hand side to Gaskin. Gaskin up to the line and out to the left-hand side they come, but on this occasion the pass just slightly above the Gifford's head, unable to bring the ball in cleanly, so Saints unable to take advantage.
Middle.
And they're just trying to go around Anna Davis. Woozy's pass. It's too high for McGifford to take in.
20 yards away. I can manage it.
And it's disappointing for Saints on play 1.
No holding in. Same with you then, no holding in.
Relief for the Warriors. It's important that the Warriors try and find a score before half-time. I think that would change a lot. But at the moment, the skill has let them down.
Nerves, wouldn't it? And here's Banks, and Banks could find some space here. Cunningham does really well. For a split second then, I thought the season opened in front of Grace Banks, but Jodie Cunningham getting across in defence. Shani Crowell again firing out of the line.
Move! Red line!
And Wigan have the ball on halfway. Wilson out to Power. Power takes on 3 St Helens defenders, and she's still going up over the 40, so good progress made there. And the locals around us just suggesting that could be quicker, but here goes Izzy Rowe. Izzy Rowe through the line for Wigan. Salihi to beat, who does brilliantly well. Still going Rowe. Wigan stopped meters short. What an effort from Berry Sahili to shut that down. Can Saints keep the door closed? That's gone down off the hand of Gaskin to 6 again. Wigan have a full set, 10 metres away from the St Helens line. Oh, we're going to get a penalty here.
Oh, that's silly.
Well, it's not often you see that, and that is an absolute coach killer.
What about this run, though, from Izzy Rowe? Just shows Shona Hoyle the outside. Shona Hoyle loses her inside shoulder, but the tackle from Berry Salihi might not have been textbook, but it does enough. And then the Warriors give away a penalty with ball in hand after 6 more.
Here goes, on me.
Criminal.
Well, Dennis Betts will be apoplectic with that.
It's up there.
Cardinal sin. You see it there, Fogerster just wrapping her arm around the leg of the St Helens.
It's not needed,
defender.
Lewis. It's not needed at all.
But more than anything, Kyle,
Get up,
regardless of the penalty, she was slowing things down for her own side. So here's Crowell up over the 30. This game continues to twist and turn. Crowell falls back. Now plays the ball. Oh, now that's come loose. Huge tackle going in. And it's going to be Wigan ball. And just maybe as we get into the last 10 minutes.
6.5 left.
Just the conditions and the heat starting to play a part. It's a huge hit. It's Mia Jane Atherton who's gone flying in. I think she may have taken one of her teammates out in the process. Mary Coleman down receiving some treatment.
And Saints now with back-to-back errors. And Mottershead jumps out. And then the shot here just to dislodge the ball. It's a brilliant tackle. Look at that. But
Right
Coleman
in the ribs, but yeah, Coleman
holding that knee, and that's never a good sign.
And straight away
You almost
putting the
fear
hand
the
up.
worst.
And she looks in some real strife down there. Mary Coleman. You hope it's just a bit of knee on knee or bone on bone and just a bit of a dead leg, but
You do hope so, yeah.
this looks
But it's
ominous for the Wigan Warriors prop forward.
You see a lot of those bad knee injuries. One of the first reactions is to grab hold of it with both hands. I've seen it so many times, and we just hope that it's not as serious. But her reaction says that that could be a bit of a spell on the sidelines for Mary Coleman.
Although there is a lot of research going on within women's sport, women statistically far more likely to sustain knee injuries. They think maybe between 2 to 8 more times likely than their male counterparts to sustain knee injuries. And there's a lot of work going into all sorts of sports science.
Well,
Coleman back up on her feet and walking back towards the dugout, which is a good sign.
Where you your scrum, girls?
She still looks
Where you your scrum?
in some pain as she limps off.
Scrum. It's this
But
side.
good to see her back
20
on her
outside.
feet. And her team will get the ball back courtesy of that absolute bell ringer from Mia Jane
Come here,
Atherton.
girls.
Yeah, wonderful shot as well.
Wigan ball.
Almost just reminding Katie Mottershead that if you're going to jump quick and try and catch us out, well, there's going to be a welcome committee for you.
Call girls, heads in.
6 minutes of this half. And we've said it a number of times that Wigan, they look threatening in good ball, but at the moment they are yet to register a score.
Just don't hold it here, okay?
Well, this Wigan backline off the scrum is set up with nearly 30 metres worth of depth, so plenty of shape to work with off this. We'll see if it's a training ground move. They run it through the hands, out the back. Greg's backed up into the line.
Okay.
She drops it off to Derbyshire, who's
Move, Phoebe,
shut
work
down
it
on the
out.
30.
Wait.
Good tackle from Phoebe Hook.
Go.
Wilson brings us out to the left-hand side. Backs again. Molly Jones was in support. Backs keeps it in hand and looks to try and cut back inside, find some space, eventually wrapped up.
Square now, hold.
Wigan in striking position, though.
Okay, flat.
Fobuster out left. Jay Gregory Hazelden
JT,
brought down on the
hand
10-metre line. Wilton with options on both sides,
Good
chooses to
markers,
go
really
to the
good
right
there.
edge. This is Rowe.
Yeah, she's through.
Again, they look towards this right-hand side. Wilson steps through and Wilson scores. And Wigan Warriors do get on the board before half-time. And it is Georgia Wilson who finds space out on that right-hand side, and third time a charm on that right edge for Wigan.
Well, it was coming, you had to admit. They've had a number of chances now of the Warriors, and in the end it's a missed tackle from Rachel Woozy as Wilson just spins and pirouettes in between her and Faye Gaskin, but Rachel Woozy has to make that tackle. Wilson gets over, and a crucial score as well.
Anna Davies on screen there, the decoy. I think that's where they thought the ball was going, wasn't it? They've looked for that route a couple of times, it's not quite worked. Georgia Wilson on this occasion keeping the ball in hand, and as you say, just finding that missed tackle on the inside and going through, and you just feel that score is going to be very important at half-time.
Yeah, it certainly is. It changes a little bit of what's said at half-time. You know, I thought all of Wigan's points, if they were going to get any, who would, you know, you'd think they were going to come down this left-hand side through Izzy Rowe and Grace Banks, who has been lively at best. Well, it's the right-hand side of the field, and Wilson gives Dennis Betts some positivity into the half-time.
So a difficult kick for Izzy Rowe right on that far side. We saw Gaskin slot one of these from equivalent range earlier on in the game. Can a Wigan counterpart do the same? It's a good strike from Rowe. Has it got the radar? It has. Fantastic effort from the sideline. And Wigan cut the lead down to 12 points to 6 in St Helens' favour. And as you see here again, Georgia Wilson just spinning back, finding the missed tackle and scoring on that right-hand side.
Just a missed tackle, Lewis, on your try line. Anywhere else on the field, you've got land behind you to cover and make up for mistakes, but 3 metres off, you have to land your one-on-ones.
So Gaskin gets us back underway. Fobuster brings it in cleanly. Oof. And just a little bit more zip around the stadium now, Carl. A little bit more energy amongst these 1,200 fans.
Gregory Hazelden straight off the kick-off into Vicky Whitfield. A big contact there.
2, move! Hands out and work in there!
Well, we spoke about the impact that Vicky Whitfield had off the bench when she first came into the game for St Helens. The bench rotation from a Wigan perspective has been pretty good as well. Power gets that away, and Molly Jones now has to try and negotiate Shona Hoyle.
3. Jody, work in there!
Wilson. Out to Fobuster. Fobuster to Eva Hunter, who always carries from deep, always looks to make a real impact.
4. Move,
She brings it into the line.
Why not?
Power's offload, yeah.
Power.
And she's here again with ball in hand. This trying to examine the central part of the field. Gets a quick play of the ball.
Plays the ball on halfway. This is the last. It's a loose ball from Wilson. Rowe will just put boot to it. That is spiralling around all over the place, but Salihi's done a really good job of bringing those in all afternoon, and no perfect again before being driven back towards the 30-metre mark.
Come on!
Really fascinating spell of this game just before half-time.
Well, there's a set each now, Lewis.
2, move now!
Before the hooter goes.
St Helens will feel probably they just want to get into the sheds at this point. Take the lead in at half-time. They'd have taken that.
3.
They'd have beaten your hand off for that, you would have thought, before this game.
Shania, you're not there!
I just feel that maybe Wigan are sensing blood if they can get ball back in hand. So Saints bring us out to the left-hand side.
Move! Marcus!
Gaskin. Couple of show and goes, and it goes herself as she's through the line. Faye Gaskin. Offload to Whitfield. Whitfield needs support. Is it there? She could go herself! Vicky Whitfield! What a try that is from St Helens! A prop forward flying up the middle of the field. And just as I'd said that Wigan was sensing blood before half-time, St Helens strike from nowhere.
Oh, massive, massive try there from Vicky Whitfield. Well, it's the work again from Faye Gaskin, running the ball. Does ever so well to beat the first couple of defenders with wonderful shape around her. Just drops the shoulder, gets on the inside of Power. And then Vicky Whitfield, in support to finish off a nice St Helens try.
Well, a St Helens middle scoring from best part of 40 metres out. I never saw you do that, Carl.
No, certainly not. But what about that in support? We spoke about her impact off the bench.
Just backs her strength, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Against Grace Banks. But Faye Gaskin, a couple of shows and goes, and then just
she's opened the game up,
scanning the line to see if it cracked, and as soon as it did, through she went. Now she has an opportunity to add a third conversion of the afternoon, and well,
she may not be the quickest, Faye, but what she makes up for is her rugby league IQ, seeing that there's a chance with shape around her to make sure that the gap's there, then to drop the shoulder and also find the pass on the end of it. Of course, Vicky Whitfield's the one who gets the plaudits for racing away, but all of the work is done through that girl there, Faye Gaskin.
She created the second, she's created the third, and an opportunity to stretch the lead out for Faye Gaskin. Strong, she's hit the post, so it stays 16 points to 6. And that will be that for the first chapter. And what a 40 minutes of Betfred Women's Super League action we have had, Kyle Amor. All the talk going into this was about how good this Wigan side have been this season. Well, St Helens have had plenty to say about that.
Well, they have, you know. Again, look, the quality that St Helens have in there, the experience, Hoyle, Cunningham, Rudge, Gaskin, Whitfield, they're players who have been there and done that against a relatively new and exciting Wigan Warriors team. However, the Warriors have been below their best. But take nothing from St Helens. We said that they had to be big, they had to start quick, and they had to be tough. And they've done every single thing in that department, and they thoroughly deserve the 10-point lead at half-time.
So let's remind ourselves then of how that first half panned out here at Robin Park Arena in front of a bumper crowd on this near side. And this is the first try, and again, just comes from nowhere really. St Helens moving the ball out to the left-hand side, and then just speed.
Yeah, well, it was wonderful ball movement from Jodie Cunningham out to Faye Gaskin. Salehi gets a nice little touch in there, and then Woozy is able to draw the winger in Anna Davis. You just see those pictures unfold here. The winger comes flying in, and then McGifford does the rest. A nice long-range try for her. Gets that ball down, and that's 6-0. Faye Gaskin converts from the sideline before it's Gaskin who drops the shoulder, gets in between two players, and Shani Crowell, who has been absolutely enormous in that first half, 40 minutes out there, and she gets her rewards after again some neat work, some running work from Faye Gaskin. And then it was the Warriors who hit back, and you thought that this try was coming. And it's a simple one-on-one miss from Woozy. Wilson does well to pirouette out of that and get the ball down in the corner. Izzy Rowe converts from the sideline, and that takes us into 10 points to 6. But then right at the death, Faye Gaskin, shape around her, Crowell, Cunningham using Whitfield as a foil, and then gets the ball to her, and she races away 35 metres. Grace Bank must have had fear in her eyes when the number 8 comes charging through like that.
She nearly does enough, Grace Banks, there, and just taken her ankles out from underneath her, but Whitfield had done too much, got too close to the line, and is able to just crash over.
Too big, too strong. And that's been the difference. Faye Gaskin hits the steelwork off the kick. 10 points is the ball game. 16 points to 6 for Saints away from home. Healthy lead.
Well, it sets us up for a blockbuster finish here at Robin Park Arena. Stay with us here on the Sportsman Rugby League. The second half from the Wigan Warriors and St Helens up next. St Helens lead 16 points to 6.
We are back. More passing.
In the Betfred Challenge Cup final for 2024.
More ferocity.
Oh, my word!
More young stars to shine.
And it's Grace Banks who goes the length of the field.
Saints are on the drive for 5.
And it's St Helens who are the history makers.
The Valkyrie are hunting the three-peat.
The history makers, the first women's team to retain their title.
Being the first is an act of revolution. Every season, a new step forward.
With the women's game on the greatest stage here at Wembley Stadium.
New challenges for the trophy.
And Beavers will not be caught from here. Caitlin Beavers.
New barriers broken. There's nothing like league. This is the Betfred Women's Super League.
Jennifer Vista. Yep. She might be a bit oblivious as to what's going on, but I'm sure she'd pick it up.
Savannah, because she's on my side and she's just always there, puts on the big hits, and I can step back a little bit and not do much defence.
Kira Bennett. Yeah.
Danny Bone.
Sam Helms.
Tori Blackwood.
This is going to be atrocious. Oh, this one looks more like a cat.
Oh no, I'm not good. normally quite good at art, but this is not the one.
What's smile at the Snapchat emoji?
My mum's going to be disappointed. This is so bad. I think I've done it.
Alright, this is what we got.
Oh my god.
I'm really sorry.
And I held it up. Like a dinosaur?
It's like a dinosaur. It's not that bad. I mean, it is quite bad.
Oh, I forgot the shield and the stripes, but yeah, that's not too bad.
Do you like the crest?
Phoebe Hawke.
Phoebe Nook.
Anna Davis. I would say Anna Davies.
Anna Davies.
Lee Burke.
Tyler James Stanley, she's pretty quick, good footwork, yeah.
I hate being put on the spot. Power.
Amy Aircastle.
Vicky Whitfield.
Vicky Molyneux. Vicky Whitfield.
Oh, what about like Rhiannon Marshall from York?
Both like.
Ooh, Jodie Cunningham, she's strong, isn't she? Yeah, definitely.
Tara Stanley.
Oh, Leah Burke.
Leah Burke. Leah Burke.
Ebony from York.
Ebony Partington.
Leah Burke, yeah.
Probably Tranny Curl.
Emily Ridge.
Shona Hoyle.
Shona Hoyle. Emily Ridge just brings the energy.
Paige Thomas.
Paige Travis. I know Paige a little bit. She's played alongside. She's hilarious.
We are back. More passing.
In the Betfred Challenge Cup final for 2024.
More ferocity.
Oh, my word!
More young stars to shine.
And it's Grace Banks who goes the length of the field.
Saints are on the drive for 5.
And it's St Helens who are the history makers.
The Valkyrie are hunting the three-peat.
The history makers, the first women's team to retain their title.
Being the first is an act of revolution.
Every season, a new step forward.
With the women's game on the greatest stage here at Wembley Stadium.
New challenges for the trophy.
And Beavers will not be caught from here. Caitlin Beavers.
New barriers broken. There's nothing like Leeds. This is the Betfred Women's Super League.
Well, welcome back to Robin Park Arena here in Wigan, and what a second half we have got in store for you here from the Betfred Women's Super League. It was the Wigan Warriors who romped home at Wembley a few weeks ago. There's no signs of a repeat of that this afternoon. St Helens leading 16 points to 6 at the break, and this home crowd here in Wigan watching on a little bit nervously towards the back end of that first half, Carl.
Yeah, they sure did as well, and then I think Vicky Whitfield's try right on the stroke of half-time has certainly dampened down the expectations from when Georgia Wilson scored and brought it into a one-score game. Fans young and old watching on. It's brilliant to see here at Robin Park. Over 1,000 packed in here to watch this contest this afternoon. And it's the home team who have got it all to do. It'd be interesting to hear or see what Dennis Betts' message, how they transpire out onto the field of play. Well, St Helens, they must be absolutely delighted with what they've served up. Their experienced players have really, really held this team together this afternoon.
I just say, Carl, regardless of what happens on the field for the next 40 minutes, what is going on below us, the crowd around us, the work that Wigan have done to bring the women's game into the community, and absolutely superb here at Rugby Park. The Women's Super League going from strength to strength and in full evidence here. But the home side have a job to do in the next 40 minutes in front of this crowd.
Well, Craig Richards just taking his seat again ahead of, that's it now for him. His messages have been done and delivered. It's over to his girls now to see if they can see this 10-point lead out and grab an important win in the league here.
But whilst we wait for the two teams to come out, Kyle, just a very important message, perhaps the most important message of the day. We don't often do shout-outs, but I'd like to give a birthday shout-out to Neville Smith. His 64th birthday. I'm sure he won't thank me for saying the number, but one of the real masterminds behind Sky Sports Rugby League for so long. And then a massive part of what we've done here on the Sportsman over the years. So happy birthday, Nev, if you're watching wherever you are in the world. I'm sure you'll be loving the action that we've been able to bring you here from Robin Park Arena.
Well, 64, Lewis. I had him a couple of years older than that.
Well,
happy birthday, Nev.
I'm reliably informed that is the number. I'll leave it to Nev to dispute.
I'm sure we'll get a message at some point.
But back to the action then here at Robin Park. What do Wigan need to do in the opening 5-10 minutes of this half? I know the obvious answer is score, but they've got to build themselves back on top, haven't they?
Yeah, they certainly have. And look, I don't actually think there's been that much in between the two teams. I really don't. I just think that when they've been down in that good ball area, I think they've looked frustrated. I think they've overplayed. I think they've tried to, almost as if they, every time they get down there, the muscle memory tells them they're expected to go over rather than building into it. But I think for St Helens, tries from deep within their half has been the real difference. I think the way that the forward pack have handled today has been sensational. There's 40 minutes left to go here, and I do understand and know that if Wigan can get it right and click well, they are very, very capable of racking up tries for fun. And just the way St Helens have been this afternoon, this is going to go all the way, I believe.
Yeah, hopefully this one goes down to the wire. We love a bit of drama here on the Sportsman. We could have more on the way here at Robin Park. Wigan with it all to do, 10 points behind at the break. But as we have seen this season, they know how to score a few points. So if Dennis Bess has got his message across at half-time, he will be hoping that his side can click back into that try-scoring form that we've seen from them so far this season. From a St Helens perspective, I think almost they need to make sure that they continue to attack as well, and make sure that they continue to try and win this game rather than just defend themselves out.
Absolutely, they can't just sit back and think that 10 points is going to be enough. We just saw a still shot there of Grace Banks. I mean, she is the absolute threat in the cherry and white shirt. Izzy Rose came up with some touches of brilliance and some decent runs. The space that they need to create for those two is key.
So here come the Saints, led out by Jodie Cunningham, Emily Rudge, Vicky Whitfield, all of that England international experience out on the field, and that is going to come in very important, you would feel, for St Helens in the next 40 minutes. Well, the great and the good of Rugby League here. Just seen Liam Marshall walk past us here at Robin Park Arena. And why wouldn't you be here raw watching on the Sportsman? Fantastic entertainment served up in the first 40. I expect we'll get more again. There's Wigan's try scorer, Georgia Wilson. Just telling her teammates, co-captain of course, just telling her teammates to keep the cool, work their way back into the game, and take the chances when they come. So it will be St Helens to get us back underway in the second half, kicking from right to left on your screen. Salihi puts boot to ball, which takes an awkward bounce and nearly found the touchline. Eva Hunter does a good job there to just mop that up and run back in field.
Hit me! Hold.
And Wigan will start this second half on the 30-metre mark. So Jones, who's been lively for Wigan on that left edge, straight back into the action.
Move, Katie! Square! Okay, Katie, not there.
And Wilson goes up the middle.
Keep going.
Still going, Wilson. St Helens leaving the door open at marker. She gets the offload away, so Wigan straight away getting a roll on.
3. Move! Come on, 6 again.
6 again, says the referee. Too much going on. So Wigan straight away with an attacking platform as Keris Jones plays the ball. Wilson again brings us out to the left-hand side. Short drop-off ball from Rowe. There'll be a penalty here.
Now, yeah. They've started with purpose of Wigan. Some wonderful runs there. Remy Wilton starting it all off and then direct hard carries off the back of it.
I'll be fascinated to know what kind of coach Dennis Betts is in these situations, whether he was calm and collected or tearing the walls down at half-time, but whatever he's done, his team have started with real intent in this second half and straight away have a try-scoring opportunity.
2. Move, Emily!
Wilson can choose left or right here. She's dead centre. She chooses left. Rowe brings us out again towards that edge. Hunter tries to crash her way over, but he stops.
It's a brilliant tackle.
Go 3.
Hunter plays the ball and Whitfield comes up with it.
0.
So St Helens survive.
Yeah, Jodie Cunningham just putting her body on the line to deny what looked like a certain score.
Back up towards the 10, Wigan forcing St Helens back.
Hold. Go on.
Rudge plays the ball. And Saints looking to just work their way through the set as Crowell looks to try and make a few more metres.
Hands off!
She half thought about the offload there, but decided to keep ball in hand.
Okay.
I think the MO from a Saints perspective early on in this second half will just be to get through your sets, complete, kick well.
Hold! Go.
Cunningham.
4.
Defence again good from Wigan, restricting the metres over on that far side. Rudge. Out to Caitlin Casey, who puts boot to ball, and that's going to find the gap in between Anna Davies and Grace Banks, and Davies will just keep it in hand and try and work her way through the line herself.
Square.
Crowell again.
Downtown.
Another tackle on her tally.
2. Move now. Get square.
Wilson in a dummy half, just short of halfway. To Wilson, the try scorer. Wilson does bring it up over halfway, and she'll look to try and get a quick play, but Saints doing a reasonable job of slowing things down. So Wilson brings us back out to the left-hand side.
4. Move, Vicky. Hold.
Now Fobister finds Banks in some space. Grace Banks is through. Takes on Salihi. Grace Banks for the corner. She's been threatening to do it all afternoon. And finally Grace Banks finds some space and scores for Wigan.
Yeah, I just knew. I said how important it was for Wigan to get her in space, because she is an absolute weapon. And that is a brilliant score from her. Individual try, but the work comes off the inside. The ball out the back here. Forbister out to Grace Banks, and then she just shows, and with speed to burn. Looks like she's going to take Salihi on the inside, goes around her and scores a try there over in that corner.
Well, Salihi's won that battle on a couple of occasions this afternoon, but not on that one. Grace Banks, she's so good off both feet, isn't she? That's the real kind of misdirection of it. She can step both
Wonderful
ways.
balance,
and with the speed as well, very, very difficult to defend against. And as I said, she's been threatening that throughout this game, and finally finds the space to be able to go through and score. And Izzy Rowe has another conversion from the sideline to try and nudge over. She did it in the first half with absolute ease. She has an opportunity here to reduce the deficit to 4 points, and just a few minutes into this second half, it feels like a significant swing in the momentum of this game that Wigan have scored first. Just short from Rowe.
Well, again,
so it stays 16 points to 10.
The way that Wigan started that second half, Lewis, there was a direct approach, intent, and then the skill to get out on the wide edge there.
Cool penalties.
Grace Banks finishing a wonderful try. What a star of the competition she is.
Stay inside. Stay inside.
So St Helens will get us back underway. Both teams just walking back a little bit after that try, just conserving energy.
On you.
So here we go again. It will be Wigan with the football, and it is again Eva Hunter who picks it up off the sideline and always carries with so much energy and enthusiasm. Eva Hunter, a real weapon on that left-hand side for Wigan. She'll play the ball on the 30. Molly Jones will take on the job of trying to march Wigan downfield further. Wilton at dummy half. Power. Threatens to offload, but just carries herself. Met by Casey.
Caitlin, hands out! Hold. Go through. Good markers, really good in there.
Rowe shapes one way, then the other. Here's Banks again. She brings Wilson back on the inside. Some lovely handling work in there from Wigan. Wilson. Rowe. Short ball to Power. Powers through. Still going Wigan, the offload's away. Here's Isabel Rowe up the middle for the Warriors. Still has ball in hand. Rowe with defenders to beat, but space to do it with, and the ball's gone to ground. And now it's Saints bringing it back the other way.
End-to-end stuff.
Shona Hoyle managing to mop things up and get 10 metres back for Saints. And now Salihi from dummy half. Breathless, Kyle.
Transitioning from a defence into attack and attack into defence.
Doctor's on. Thank you.
And we are just going to take a breather here because there's a player over on that far side receiving some treatment. There's a few players limping about, perhaps concerningly.
Is that Faye Gaskin?
Faye Gaskin is hobbling off for St Helens, so that could be a real key moment in this game. And then Phoebe Hook receiving some treatment as well. So it could be a double blow from a St Helens perspective.
Just in the build-up to that. Power. She's carried the ball really well for the Warriors. Comes up with a neat offload. And I just thought back to Faye Gaskin. She takes a shot at goal after Whitfield's try, and comes out of it gingerly. But I think Hook on this occasion just gets caught underneath there. But Faye Gaskin, when she took that conversion for Whitfield's try, she received some treatment right on the hooter. And I think that injury's just caught up with her. Yeah. But I think Hook, with the doctor being on, I think she might have to leave the field.
Well, this will be interesting in terms of a reshuffle as well from a St Helens perspective. So Cunningham already playing in the halves from loose forward. You would think that maybe Caitlin Casey will drop in at half back alongside her.
Possibly, yeah. It looks that way, isn't it?
Wait, I'll mark it.
Well, back up on her feet, Phoebe Hook, so that was an encouraging sign. She's helped off. We can just see it again, just gets ahead. Underneath Jones and Kraut.
Pick it up. Right, tackle 3.
We tackle 3. 10 metres in. 45 metres from their own end.
So Whitfield carries in for Saints, and for the time being, it does look as if that is what St Helens are doing. Casey
keep working, keep going.
Coming into the halves. So many of these players in the St Helens squad are adept right across the line.
Well, listen. Go 5. Nothing late.
Here is Casey. She'll put boot to ball. Tricky one for Grace Banks to deal with. In the end, bounces up quite kindly for her. Just looks to see if she can find some space.
She's lost the
ball.
Backwards.
Going in.
Backwards.
Backwards, says the referee. So Still we roll on, and it just feels like the intensity of this game, Kyle, has gone up a notch in the last 2 or 3 minutes. There's a lot on the line here.
Spicing up all right.
That's okay.
Don't need any telling about what it means in this part of the world when Wigan Warriors play St Helens.
And these are the carries there that are causing Saints some trouble. They're chewing up meters for fun, playing off quick rucks. Here comes Power. Hasn't she been good in the second half?
Yeah, really injected herself into the game. A mixture of speed and physicality.
Move! Faye! Hands out!
Loads of experience playing over in Australia for the Warriors, Titans, Roosters, Cowboys, now the Wigan Warriors. And they could be in the corner. Anna Davies could be away.
Brilliant tackle.
Danny McGifford just takes her legs out from underneath her, and then she's forced into touch. And it looked as if Anna Davies had found the space she needed, but it was quickly taken away.
Well, it was a neat 2v1 created between Banks and Davies. McGifford just does enough, and it's her left boot actually that brings her down.
Up in McGifford, doesn't it? She gets across to her.
The inside work from Casey as soon as she's back up on her feet to rush her over the sideline.
It's a really interesting battle, that one. Davies and McGifford. There's not many people who could live with Anna Davies in a foot race, but Danny McGifford has certainly shown she's one of them.
Move! Square! Hold. Go on.
So St Helens with the ball back in hand, deep inside their own territory, but for all the time that they've got the football, they won't mind too much. Moss's head in at dummy half.
Come on!
Options on both sides. Here's Shani Kraut. Oh, another big contact. They're flying in here at Robin Park. Great entertainment. And Kraut's off again. Up towards halfway. Straight into the tackle of Power.
Play on. Get up.
She'll play the ball slightly slowly. Casey up towards the line. Darcy stopped.
Move!
There's a boot gone flying. Not sure whose that was. I think it might have been Stotts.
Keep going!
That ball's bouncing around all over the place. Cunningham will do well to bring it in and find Salihi.
Bye! Jenna, hands out!
It is Darcy Stott who's still playing with one boot as the trainer comes out to come and pick it up. Cunningham will just put that one up in the air, takes a bounce straight into the hands of Anna Davies, so she's got an opportunity to get her legs pumping.
Darcy!
Well, Stott with one boot makes that tackle.
Not there, Darcy!
Now Wilson brings out to the right-hand side. She stops on the 40. Game's been played at quite a click now, Carl. It's really sped up, hasn't it, in the last 5 minutes or so?
That was high.
The referee saying it rode the shoulder. It was Kerrish Jones who made the carry. Play on, says Lucas Seal, the referee.
4. Move, Katie! Katie!
Power will play it. Hunter.
5. Johnny,
this is the last, so
get square.
Opportunity for Wigan to try and bury St Helens deep into their own half. Fobuster has to just take the ball back in hand. That's a really clever kick to the corner.
Yeah, it just takes the sting out of the game, which has been 100 miles an hour in this last 6 or 7 minutes. Just lifts the ball over the top, sees it over, and it'll be a turnover.
I'm not going to stop
10 metres away. And what that does is it asks players like Shani Crowell, Whitfield to get back behind the ball and try and offer something with 90 metres of turf ahead of you.
Stay square.
These are difficult carries with a Warriors outfit that's fresh and ready to stop the attack of St Helens here.
So the word from the sideline, Kyle, as you correctly called, Gaskin not recovered from a knock just before half-time. It was actually an injury she picked up in the act of putting Vicky Whitfield through to score. So we will keep an eye on it, see if she returns back to the field of play, but I get the suspicion that Faye Gaskin might be done in the afternoon, and that could be a real turning point in this game because she's so important to the way that this Saints team plays.
Well, she's created the majority of the points, hasn't she? Whether that's through her boot or through an ability to run the ball and find an offload. Twice she did that, and twice Saints scored.
So here's Casey just showing and going, and then eventually giving.
5. Move!
To Naomi Williams, who brings it up over halfway. This is the last, so kick to come, and it's Casey who puts boot to ball. Another one that's just spiralling around all over the place. Elise Derbyshire safe underneath it. Williams with good kick pressure, and Wigan will start this set just the other side of the road, 20-metre line. Crowd around us, what a penalty, the referee.
Well, I think the
not
next
interested.
Next time there's a 50,
well, there is one.
Just took it right out of my mouth. Yeah.
This one is on here. Watch it, yeah. It's all right. Just high.
I was going to say, the next time there's a 50-50 or anything, this crowd
You're kicking.
have been on top, and here's the first one of those tackles that was deemed borderline by this crowd, heading in towards illegal. But then the next play, the penalty is given away. Shania Power just tries to get an 8 or 9 metre carry and does so.
Get square.
So we're going up towards the 40.
Go.
I'll look to come out to the right-hand side.
2. Darcy, hands out. Hold right.
And they'll start from halfway here. Here's Rowe up towards the line. Out the back to Banks. Banks to Davies. A pass slightly behind us. So she just has to check her run. And Danny McGifford does well, but it's 6 again.
Flop in.
So Wigan just maybe starting to get on top in the penalty count.
1. Move, Katie. Hold.
Jones stopped by Whitfield. Reece Casey onto the field at acting half. Here's Molly Jones with a little bit of space. Still going. Molly Jones down that left-hand side.
2. Move, Jodie. Get square.
One of many Wigan Academy products in this side. And England Knights international as well. Molyneux.
Clear. 3.
Wigan
Katie,
10 metres away. Plenty of tackles still in their pocket.
Oh, they've lost the ball.
They've lost the ball at the ruck.
They didn't make a genuine attempt to play the ball.
But I think, again, cause for concern for St Helens, because I think that is Vicky Whitfield.
Time off.
Who looks in
play the ball.
Some trouble.
2 markers on the white.
Just falls awkwardly as Whitfield. And it's deemed an incorrect play of the ball.
Well,
which is a bit harsh. There's been a number of them.
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? But by the letter of the law, he's got it right. But I think you could probably, if you got your microscope out, find quite a few of those.
And just a short pass there.
This is Whitfield. Not entirely sure what's happened there with Whitfield, but she's still down, which is very much concerning. It looks like a leg injury again, so for as brilliant as St Helens were and have been in the first 57 minutes of this game, they are taking some heavy casualties.
Yeah.
Good news is for them on this occasion, it looks like Whitfield is going to be okay. Looks like she's staying on. Massive impacts is coming off the bench in the first half, and of course, well, a real show-reel try right at the end of that first period, Whitfield.
Well, it's her try that's the difference so far.
Regular viewers of Live Rugby League on the Sportsman will of course remember her a few weeks ago scoring twice against Leeds in that 20-all draw. Such a big part of this Saints team, such a big role in getting them moving forward, so it'll be a relief for their fans and coaching staff that she stayed on the field. Saints with a job now of digging themselves out from deep inside their own half.
3. Movement!
Up towards the 30. Pace of the game has just slightly dropped with some of the stoppages, but Rogers put that ball on the floor.
Knock on, I know. I was seeing if he picked one up. Where's where it goes? Here. On the cross goes, scrum on the cross.
So Wigan with another opportunity to put some pressure on St Helens. It's another perfectly positioned tackle, isn't it, from Eva Hunter?
Yeah.
Ribs and ball. Roger unable to keep hold of it.
Going both ways.
Just mentioning Molly Jones, Eva Hunter, another product of the Wigan Warriors Academy. Another one in England, in the England Knights setup, and I'm sure has ambitions to feature in the senior side in the not too distant future as well.
Head in, wait for me. Okay, stay tight.
So Wigan with the scrum at the second attempt. Fogelster, Rowe up towards the line. Banks is in space out the back. Again, it's that axis of Banks and Davies on this occasion is able to find some space back on the inside. Stopped 22 metres away from the line. Wilson in at acting half to Molyneux. Molyneux just puts it under the jumper and carries forward. She stopped 13, 14 metres away. Banks moves from one side of the ruck to the other, and Davies will stroll in on the right-hand side, and that was a really nicely worked try from the Wigan Warriors. Grace Banks whipping around the back of the play to provide the extra player, cause the overlap, and put Anna Davies in the corner.
Yeah, it's brilliant from the fullback. Grace Banks, what a player she is. Look where she starts, with speed from the other side of the ruck to create a 4-on-3, and then Wilson does the rest. Early ball to the centre, pulls the winger in, and Davis gets a walk in. That right edge has been threatening and growing in the opening 17 minutes of this second half, and in the end it pays its rewards. Davis goes over in the corner.
What do you want, Izzy?
And 2 tries then from the Wigan Warriors in this second half. Means that Izzy Rowe now has the opportunity to lock this game up at 16 points all. It's another kick from the sideline. Been a few of those this afternoon. Can Isabel Rowe square this game off with just over 20 minutes left?
Well, they've started both halves in similar fashion of Wigan. However, they've been able to register points. You know, the 2 errors from both wingers in the first half could have been 12-0 and perhaps should have been in favour of the home team, as Rowe's kick is a good one.
It's on target. Isabel Rowe from the sideline locks this game up at 16 points apiece. And we have got a grandstand finish on the way here on the Sportsman Rugby League.
Yeah, but this picture, just look at her bursting onto the scene. Inside ball there, catching past Davis with a walk in. Well, it's all down to the work of the fullback, Grace Banks.
Anna Davies was always going to have something to say in this game. Can't keep her quiet. She's had a few near misses, but no mistake on that occasion.
St Helens 16.
On you, Barry.
What a game this has been. Just under an hour played, and we are none the wiser as to who will be winning this derby here at Robin Park.
Well, it was about this period, 20 minutes in, before St Helens finally broke the deadlock, and they're going to need a carbon copy in this half, because at the moment it's one-way traffic, Lewis.
Wigan definitely on top at this stage of the game. We said beforehand both teams will have spells. Well, Wigan are making those spells count now, but that's a fantastic defensive effort. Shannon Crowell in there again, with Philbin Cunningham involved in forcing Wigan back. Every metre that St Helens can restrict the Warriors to will be crucial, you feel, as this arm wrestle continues in front of us.
No ripping! 5. Move D! Hold.
So Wigan move into St Helens territory. Fogelster will put to ball.
He splits the winger and the fullback. And
referee says nothing wrong with it.
Well, look at the chase, Lewis. The Warriors have got the tails up at the moment. Woozy.
2. Move now!
Well, we said it in the first half, Kyle, and St Helens scored 3 tries, but we have spent a lot of time looking at one end of the field in this second period. St Helens again having to start this set from deep inside their own half.
Stott.
4. Move!
Stott plays the ball. Mottershead brings us out to the right-hand side to Cunningham, who is almost playing 2 or 3 positions, isn't she now?
Yeah, well, quite afternoon for her.
Just an organising role, as much of anything at this point, isn't it, for Jodie Cunningham? And Anna Davies spills. And is that a moment where this game swings once again?
Well, that could be a big error, and it's right on that 20-metre mark, isn't it?
Here, all right.
Well, just in front.
20. Scrum.
We enter the final quarter. And it's Saints' real first opportunity in this half, down this end of the field. Faye Gaskin, of course, who's been the orchestra for points. She's not there.
Keep going, girls.
It's between Cunningham and Casey to try and find a way and a gap in this cherry and white wall.
Out!
So Casey at first receiver. She has Cunningham in backfield. Cunningham out to Salehi. Salehi brings us out wide. Wigan defence gets across, can't quite find the sideline, but St Helens making good progress on play one of this set. Full width of the field to play with. Motter's head in at dummy half. Cunningham.
Nice hands.
Move, Jade!
Shona Hoyle trying to muscle her way over the line.
Go. Play on.
Motter's head. Whitfield. Whitfield with a short ball to Casey. Casey brings stop back on the inside. Wigan's defence wise to it on this occasion.
Keep going.
Still going, no tackle not made, so the offload is away to Motter's head. Erin McDonald stopped just a few metres short. Options on both sides of the play of the ball. They come short left to stop. Stop just a metre short.
Good defence.
Still tackles in hand for St Helens. Left they come again. Casey. Salehi does well to keep ball in hand. That's come down. Davies has picked that up. Davies could be away. Field open in front of her, but it's going to get pulled back. I did think in real time that there might have been a Wigan hand involved in that. Belatedly, Lucas Seal pulls play back just when Anna Davies thought she was galloping away.
Well, you thought that there was a touch on it, but my initial thought was it was just a decent contact that dislodges the ball out of Salehi's hands.
See it again. It's not a clean take from Salehi. She gets the pass away. No, it does come off the hand of Georgia Wilson.
Well,
the linesman
spot on that.
Has done his job there.
Alcohol girls. 15
it just shows you, doesn't it? The pass to Salehi. If it was on the money, look how it's over the right-hand shoulder. If that pass is on the money, they'll score.
Ready. Heads in. Keep going, girls. Discipline's good.
It is
Anna Davies.
a correct decision. Anna Davies thought that she was away for a second try.
Let's see where it goes.
And that's a fairly messy restart from the scrum.
Penalty given away here.
It's the second time again that he has pinned them for breaking early. Now, Kyle.
Take the two.
That was going to be my question.
I think taking the two for sure, points on offer, but I don't think 2 points is going to be enough to see them home. Just keep your eye on the defensive line. They all go forward. Saints choose to hold the ball into the scrum. Every one of them are offside. Correct call.
Well, the kicking tee is on the field. Faye Gaskin is not on the field, so it is going to be Lucy McComb who picks up the kicking responsibilities for St Helens. I understand why you take the two in this situation, Kyle. As you say, I don't think 2 points wins the game, but maybe just a little bit of scoreboard pressure changes the mentality a bit, and they get ball in hand from the kickoff if they can manage that.
They do, and once again, it's the Warriors who have to chase it. So mentally, what does this do? If she can knock it over, and she does. 18 points to 16. 15 minutes to go.
So Lucy McComb
girls, that's twice in the scrum now.
Knocked over the points, and there we can see quite clearly
the right-hander Wilson hits that ball. They give a penalty away off the resulting scrum, and there's the 2 points for McComb.
Some of the locals around us who don't have the benefit of seeing that replay, not happy with the decision, but it was the right decision. And then the penalty for breaking at the scrum, the second time that we're going to fall foul of that this afternoon. Dennis Betts will be pretty fuming about that, you'd have thought.
Yeah, it just shows you, doesn't it? You know, Craig Richards, Deck Hardman were just sat in the stands next to us, and now they're all down on the sideline. It just shows you how intense this game is for them.
There's some intensity for you, Wigan, from the kick-off, forcing St Helens back. Georgia Wilson right on Caitlin Casey.
Left side with me. Two.
This has been an excellent game of Rugby League, Carl. Whatever happens.
Fantastic.
15 minutes left on the clock. Betfred Women's Super League providing the entertainment again.
St Helens just a couple of long carries.
An offload, and Mottershead has got space. Whitfield charging through the middle. Eva Hunter. What a tackle that is. She's been everywhere this afternoon. Cunningham up over halfway. Thought about the offload, keeps it in hand.
Hold.
All the time St Helens are in possession, they are in control of this game. How much of the ball can they engineer between now and the final whistle? That might be the key. This is the last. Big kick coming up.
Hold. James,
Mottershead.
you're not square.
Casey just stabs one through, looking for the sideline. Doesn't find it. Davies picks up and carries back at the St Helens defence. Williams stays with her. Now the ball's come loose.
Lost the ball.
And the referee says that has come loose. Within the laws of the game, not a penalty, not a strip. St Helens ball.
It's exactly what happened in the first half.
Scrum.
The first 20 of both halves have belonged to the home team.
We'll see it again. Hard to tell from our vantage point. It's a big call.
Well, it is a big call, but it's been made.
That's not going to tell you too much either. Oh, well, there's no hand in there.
No, I think Anna Davis just has to hold on to that ball.
I think, again, Lucas Seal has got that spot on.
Out call. Let's go. Ready?
I think if St Helens are going to win this game, they're going to need another try here, or as 2 points is not going to be enough.
Head in, Grace. 2 hands, Grace, please. Thank you. Head in. Okay. Hold out. That's better.
So Salihi.
Move. Easy. Hold.
Stop. Force back. Pressure builds, tension builds around us. Huge moment in this game. Erin McDonald.
Move. Get square, Holly.
Now they come out to the left-hand side. Casey brings it up to the line. Salihi. Saints could be in here. Rachel Woozy stopped just short, and then a penalty for a strip.
She can't help but try and wait. She actually rips the ball out, then let go. While Woozy's trying to get the ball down and score a try. There's too many bodies in that tackle for her to come up with a one-on-one strip.
Not happy with it. We can have another look at it.
Well, it's not. Look.
Well, she tries to. She almost gives herself up, doesn't she?
Yeah. There's two in the tackle. You can't do it.
Move now. Hey.
So St Helens given another opportunity to try and bash this Wigan wall down, and they come to the right-hand side, and McGifford's over.
You okay with that last pass?
No, it's not McGifford, sorry. I think it's Hook who's gone over on that right-hand side. But St Helens are in, and this game turns again in favour of the Saints. Might work, Carl Amor. You said they needed to score. They have done just that, and it is Lucy McComb who has scored on that far side.
Well, it all came about through 8 minutes of constant pressure from St Helens. The ball shipped out wide here, and it is a wonderful, wonderful St Helens try. Emily Rudge just providing the soft, short pass on the end of it. And Lucy McComb gets a score, and this is a big, big kick now. If she lands this with 10 minutes left, the Warriors will be chasing 2 scores. Huge kick.
Massive kick. And you can feel the tension around us. Lucy McComb scoring the try on that right-hand side, in on place of Phoebe Hook on that wing, who's gone off with an injury. Lucy McComb has an opportunity to convert her own try and push Wigan out to a 2-score lead. It's from the sideline. I think it's just going to fall short, so it stays a 6-point advantage for St Helens. Wigan 16, St Helens 22. With about 10 minutes left on the clock, we are going to the wire.
It all came off Anna Davis's penalty, her decision to decide to strip that ball off Rachel Woozy.
Just short of 8 now.
And they're able to shift the ball to the other side of the field and get over through Lucy McComb. And it's 22 points to 6. There's 6 points in it. Which way will it go?
About 8. On you, let's go.
So Wigan will get us back underway. 10 minutes left to decide this one. What a game it has been. It has lived up to all of the hype that Wigan Saints derbies deserve.
Hold.
Wigan have been waiting since 2018 to get a win over St Helens in the league, and at the moment, Kyle, it looks like that wait might just be going on a little bit longer.
Yeah, perhaps a little reminder, if this contest sees out at this scoreline to Dennis Betts and the Warriors, that look, there's still fight left in this St Helens team.
Saints would go top of the Betfred Women's Super League table if they can hold this out. But there is still a lot of rugby league to be played in this contest.
I mean, there is a few noticeable absentees for the Warriors. No Megan Williams, Emily Vivers, Rachel Thompson, Caris Marsh as well, all not involved this afternoon.
Okay, good to go.
So Wigan back with ball in hand. Can they come up with something from deep inside their own half to crack this game wide open once more? Here's Anna Davies. If she finds space, she can go.
Vicky!
Where is Grace Banks? She feels like the one that could be the game breaker for Wigan. Here she is, trying to work her way through. Danny McGifford makes the tackle, but comes off second best. Hobbling her way back to the defensive line. Potentially more injury concerns for Saints. Rowe. Wigan up over halfway. This crowd below us, Carl, on this new side will explode if Wigan do find a try. Here goes Eva Hunter. Hunter versus Salihi. Hunter's going through to score. Wigan can lock this game back up. And Eva Hunter comes up with a moment of magic to put them within touching distance.
Oh, what a game this is. And Eva Hunter, another stellar performer out there this afternoon, gets on the score sheet and brings this game right to within 2 points. Izzy Rowe, how's your nerves here to try and convert this wonderful try from Eva Hunter, who just carries this ball with real tent and in purpose.
She's been outstanding all afternoon, Hunter. Defensively, she's been brilliant, but that is some finish from the Wigan second row. And now Isabel Rowe has the job of locking this game up at 22 points apiece.
Just look at her goal there. She hits that ball at 100 miles an hour at that line, and there was no stopping her. There's a little bit of work to do to get round the fullback, and does it ever so well. And the biggest cheer of the afternoon might be outshone by this kick if it goes over.
Well, there's 1,228 people in this ground. You can hear a pin drop. Isabel Rowe steps up, strikes it well through the middle. We are tied up at 22 all with around 6 minutes left on the clock. Probably an important time to just point out that that clock on your screen is just a guide. It is not hooked up to the referee's watch, so we're not 100% exactly how long we've got to go. But we are certainly into the dying embers of this game, and we are locked up at 22 points apiece.
Oh, we certainly are. Don't go anywhere.
It's a classic. I'm playing out in front of us here on the Sportsman. Our last Betfred Women's Super League action ended in a draw. Could we be heading there again?
Time on.
So the kickoff goes deep right. Wigan back with ball in hand and wind in sails.
One. Move now!
All of a sudden the momentum has swung again, and it feels like the Warriors are on top.
2. Chantal, hands out!
Molly Jones up towards the 40 where she'll play the ball.
Go.
Wilson back onto the field for Wigan. Vicky Molyneux up over the 40-metre mark, looking to try and get towards halfway.
Square now! Hold. Chantal offside. Got it
Now we come out to the right-hand side, and there's a penalty
Can you stay out?
for offside, and Wigan with an opportunity to march themselves downfield and put themselves in striking distance. Kyle, at some point between now and full time, you're going to have to come up with the player of the match.
Thanks for that.
Rather you than me. A hospital pass for you.
Back line. Hey, Caitlin. Cross.
St Helens have just invited
that ball.
The best attacking team in the competition
Jones
down into their half.
Juggling that one, as you say. Wigan invited onto this Saints line, and a huge moment in what has been a brilliant game of rugby league. Atherton stopped 12 metres away. Wigan come left. Rowe, Fobister, Molly Jones. Can she crash away over? Stop just short. Full width for the pitch to play with. Whitfield is down in back play.
Play on, play on.
Rowe steps through. Izzy Rowe. The covering defence from St Helens just about doing enough. She stopped short.
Hands off.
St Helens playing a player down here. Whitfield still down in back play. Molyneux. She's just pushed backwards and she was through over the line. This is the last one more opportunity in this set for Wigan. Will they go for the one? Out it comes. Rowe. Fobister, there's space on this left-hand side.
Oh, they had to make that play. They'd say it's they were done.
Betfred who got a hand to it, so it will be a repeat set.
Yeah, she has to go for the gamble, Lewis, because behind her there was 3 cherry and white shirts. Danny McGifford there with an important touch. Gives the St Helens team another chance to defend their line.
Well, Saints with a big defensive set on the way. Wigan will, at the very least, be in drop goal territory come the end of this set of tackles.
I think that's the setup now, isn't it?
Vicky Whitfield continues to receive treatment. She's been down a couple of times, struggling with, looks like a knock to her right leg. St Helens with a few players bashed up on the sideline already. Looks like Whitfield is going to stay on.
80 seconds.
I think we've just heard the referee there say 80 seconds left in this contest over his microphone. And Danny McGifford has to make that play. I know it's not ideal. 6 more near your own line in drop goal territory. And with the threat that they've got, the Warriors, in terms of running the ball, this is a huge set here now.
Let's go.
Well, it all comes down to this, Kyle.
120 girls.
There's another St Helens, or Wigan player, in fact, who's been carried off over on that far side.
Where? Time off. Chantal, 2 arms round, please. 2 arms round.
Referee just making sure that everyone is bound in the scrum correctly. We've already seen a couple of penalties for that in this game. One here will be devastating from a Saints perspective. Izzy Rowe steps on the inside. Izzy Rowe trying to go through, stop just short. Metres away. Wilson, Fobister. She brings it up to the line and tries to step through herself. Saints level to it on this occasion. Still the pressure builds. Wilson. Short ball to Jones. Jones stopped 3 metres away.
3.
Wigan in drop goal range. Do they go for it now? Rowe puts boot to ball and doesn't connect. And that could be the moment.
Oh, it was an awful attempt.
Seals this game as a draw. She never connected with it.
No, she snatched at it.
20
You understand under the pressure.
No ball, time off. Time off.
There was space out wide to run it. She decides to go for it. And she just tries to whip it as hard as she can. And you'd have to say, perhaps a draw is the most fairest result, considering how this game has ebbed and flowed over each quarter. And Vicky Whitfield, 15-metre carry. There might be one more chance to roll the dice here.
Is there one more moment of magic, one more twist in the tail of what has been a classic derby? No, there is not. Full time here at Robin Park Arena, and we have witnessed a breathless 80 minutes of action in the Betfred Women's Super League. Wigan Warriors 22, St Helens 22 it finishes. And Kyle, what a game of rugby league that was.
Yeah, fantastic game of rugby league all round. And a fitting end, really. Wigan could have snatched it with that drop goal, but I think, again, the first 20 belonged to the home team. St Helens come back in that half, and then exactly the same in the second half, and a scoreline of 22-all. I think it's a fair reflection on all the efforts this afternoon.
I've given you till full time, Kyle. Give us your player of the match.
Yeah, look, I think it has to be Grace Banks. I think her involvement all afternoon, the energy that she showed, a special mention for Shani Crowell and for Faye Gaskin, who left the field. But I think, you know, Grace Banks in there with Izzy Rowe. I thought Power offered some punch through the middle, but Grace Banks, a stellar afternoon from her.
Yeah, Grace Banks lighting it up here at Robin Park Arena in front of a crowd of 1,228. Brilliant attendance here in Wigan, and they have witnessed an absolute classic from the Betfred Women's Super League. We can have a look back, Kyle, as to how that game unfolded. I'm going to leave you to talk through the highlights. I'm going to head down and get some post-match reaction.
Yeah, well, there was 3 tries to the home team in the second half, and it all started through Grace Banks, the Betfred Women's Player of the Match, just rounding Salihi on the 45th minute to strike back first and give the Warriors something to build upon in this second half. It was them that scored to reduce that deficit before, about 12 minutes later, Banks again with the involvement, just a soft ball to Wilson, and then on to Hannah Davis on the 57th minute mark. A space was created through the vision and execution of Banks and Wilson, but then after a number of penalties and errors, St Helens were gifted field position, and through Jodie Cunningham out to Salihi, soft short ball there from Rudge that sees Lucy McCall squeeze over into the corner. Some wonderful soft hands there for the space out wide, but then the moment that led to the biggest cheer of the afternoon here in front of a crowd of over 1,200, Eva Hunter just hitting a direct line like all good edge back rowers do, and races away for Izzy Rowe to convert this try and bring us within. In fact, that brought us at a 22-all ball point game. Eva Hunter there racing away to score, and then they had a real chance, a real opportunity, did the Warriors. Again, there was a penalty given away and a number of desperate efforts from St Helens to deny them trying to crash over. They set up for the 1 point, and Izzy Rowe makes a mess of it. Punches about 5 metres underneath the crossbar. But on full reflection of this afternoon, you have to say a 22-all scoreline is very, very fitting. And we'll head down now to Lewis, who's with the Betfred Player of the Match, Grace Banks.
Hey, Grace, that was an incredible game to watch. What was it like to play in?
It was really difficult to play in as well, as much as it probably was difficult to watch. Obviously a bit devastated with the result, but we didn't lose, so it's alright.
St Helens put you under real pressure. There was times in the games where they obviously built out a lead, but you never went away. You stayed right at them and obviously able to get back to a draw. Can you take positives out of the fact that you were able to come back into the game?
Yeah, we were great. We stayed in the grind. Saints are a hard team to play, everyone knows that. They definitely pushed us at some times, but you have to keep grinding through the game. And a player of the match performance from yourself. It looks like you're really developing some nice combinations with the outside backs and putting together some good play. Yeah, it all comes through training, and we train 2-3 times a week, and we all have jobs full time, and yeah, we're working hard, and we've worked hard this season to get shape with our outside backs, and it's obviously showing. Do you feel like being in a game that tough at this point in the season will help you further down the line when you get into semi-finals, things like that? Yeah, we needed a game like that. They definitely tested us, and we want to be tested. We want to show that the league isn't just a top 4 league, and we need games like that to show that. Well, Grace, well played today. I'm going to
bring in your head coach, Dennis Betts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dennis, wow, what a game of rugby league.
It was that, yeah. It was. To be fair, that's what the game needs. And then when we spoke about it before the game, they've got some high quality people in their organisation that want to fight. And they'd have been hurt. You know what I mean? You don't go to a final and lose by 42 points. It doesn't hurt you. So I think that was what we saw today, was an idea of like that little bit of bounce back from that game. But what you saw from us was a little bit of understanding and resilience. We've not been in a game like that this year. Everything's gone our way, everything's fallen into place. We've had to dig ourselves out of a bit of a hole. We've had tries scored against us that we don't usually get scored against us. So it's been good for us. I like the draw and I'd like a win. But what it's given us today is given that group, really quite a young group, something completely different to learn from.
You talk about the experience side of it as well. On the positives for you, you must have been pleased with the way that tough moments in the game when St Helens struck from nowhere and put you down on the scoreboard, your players stuck right at them and didn't let them get away from you.
Well, and it's not something we've had to do this year. As a young group and as a group that we've not had to come from behind, we've not had to come from a couple of scores down, really, to get ourselves in any kind of control. I thought today was a real good point for that. It's an exercise for us, that things that we can and can't do in a game that's really tough. And it's nice, I would like to have gone through the year and been really, really strong and beat sides completely. No pressure on me, no pressure on the girls. But that's not what we want. They want to be challenged, and I thought today St Helens turned up with a challenge mentality.
I know you'll review it and pick the bones out of it. Is there a slight frustration with perhaps some of the errors and some of the scrum penalties and stuff like that you gave away?
I'm not going to call a referee if that's what you have done.
No, I think they were correct decisions, but in terms of your players giving away penalties and errors, isn't it?
We're on a learning curve. And again, we've not had to go through that. We've not been to those positions as well. Felt today that our ruck speed wasn't as quick as it has been, and St Helens did a good job on that. The referee allowed them to do that. I think there was plenty of control in our side of the game in a certain aspects, but like I said, there's 2 or 3 tries in there that we'll be really disappointed about because they're just not in our makeup at the moment.
You mentioned the experience of what this will give your side. Do you think when you're into semi-finals and things like that at the back end of the year, you'll look back on this game as a real moment of growth and a real moment of learning?
Without a doubt. Sometimes you just need to be knocked back into place. And like I said before, it's like, you look at that St Helens side, they're full of internationals, full of lots of experience. We want to dig deep. In fact, some of the girls that finish playing for St Helens, when they finish eventually, they'll go down as some of the innovations and greats that have played the game. Your Jodie Cunninghams, they're the kind of girls that we've got to be able to overcome, and that experience is something we've not got in our group at the moment. I thought today that we dug deep, we made mistakes, we responded to those mistakes, and like I say, I thought we were good for a win at one stage, but I think a draw could be a good reflection today.
Well, Dennis, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get back in. We can bring in your opposite number as well, Derek Hartman.
No
so thanks, Dennis. We'll see you again. So Derek Hartman, Dennis Betts, just reflecting on what was a frantic game of rugby league here at Rugby Park Arena. A draw between 2 famous old rivals. And I'll tell you what, it feels like a fair result on the balance of play. Would have been a real shamer if someone had to lose that game. Derek Hartman now able to join us. Just about got our breath back with you. That was some game of rugby league.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? These derbies we talk about, especially when you come from St Helens and you come from Wigan, it's bragging rights, isn't it? So I think we dug in there. We were struggling at times, but when we lost some of the players, we lost and we shuffled around. I think we give a good account of ourselves today.
You must have been really happy with the start and really the first 40 minutes of that game.
Yeah, I was really happy, but I always know that we've got that in us. We're a championship team, and I always think that we've got them starts in us. Sometimes we just haven't been able to do that at times this year, but today they have on a really good day for us. So yeah, I'm really impressed with what we've put together.
And defensively, you had a lot of sets on your line to defend. You saw out a lot of them. You must have been really pleased with the effort and the attitude that your girls showed in that situation.
100%. Everybody turned up for each other today. Obviously, like the men's game now, we're doing a lot of video. We're watching what these teams are doing. We watch these teams. We watch how they play. So we tried to combat that. But I think the girls carried the defensive pattern out well today.
Does that performance restore a little bit of confidence after what happened at Wembley?
I don't know about confidence. I think pride's a little bit more about it. I think at Wembley that wasn't the true version of us, and we had to come home licking our wounds a little bit. So, you know, this today I think we've given a better representation of us and our club and who we represent, our town, and for me that's everything.
Well, Derek, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get back in and speak to your players, but a fantastic afternoon in Rugby League.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
So there we have it, 80 minutes in the books here at Robin Park. I can bring Kyle Amor back in alongside me. Kyle, both teams, both coaches seem pretty happy with their work, what the players have produced. Dennis Betts seemed very happy that his team had a real test. It was certainly a real test, wasn't it?
Oh, look, you know, again, to echo what both coaches have said, absolutely delighted given where we are at this stage of the season. You know, saw some massive improvements from St Helens, and, you know, some of their attitude, some of their efforts defensively when they were really, really tested to keep a very good attacking Wigan side at bay. You know, it was brilliant. You know, 22-all, what a game that we've had here on the Sportsman this afternoon. Brilliant.
And what an advert for the competition, the Betfred Women's Super League. Every time we show these games, we seem to get 80 minutes of unbelievable action, but this was as good as you'll see.
Yeah, well, I said beforehand about how the performance that Wigan threw in at the Challenge Cup final meant that everybody else had to react and go with it, and I thought St Helens did that today. I thought both sides have some noticeable absentees that will return and make that contest even better next time these two meet, but, you know, for now, nothing splits them at the moment.
Well, Kyle, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us as well. I know you will have enjoyed that. What a game in the Betfred Women's Super League. A draw between two famous old rivals. Nothing to separate Wigan and St Helens here at Robin Park Arena. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stay with us throughout the season. We've got the last tackle as ever on Wednesday night, of course. We'll have our next live offering confirmed very, very shortly. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.